teamed up. Like as David was climbing, he made sure that you were taking slack out of the system. But you had your hands here and you would kind of just do like...
I started climbing with the club this spring semester of my freshman year because I didn't have any friends. And I had joined the snowboard club, and it's huge. It's a giant club, and it's really hard to meet people that are like-minded. So I joined the rock climbing club, and I met like a couple girls that were there for the first time, and it was awesome. I didn't expect anything going into it. I didn't even know what the color of the tape meant, and it just started this whole new world for me, which was really great. It was probably the best thing I could have found.
So I just started climbing in the fall, this past 2014 fall semester, and I'm a freshman, and I liked it so much that I applied to like work here. I got into it just because of like the staff, and the way the staff kind of runs it is that like they want to push you to do better, in the sense that when I first started, like Rory was always here trying us to like making us do different climbs and making us do like more challenging things. And as I became a staff member during my spring semester, I felt like I kind of learned that, and like encouraging others to like push themselves a little bit more.
I started working at the wall when it opened, and it was just became like a home, and it's really awesome. I got to see a lot of the people that climb here now. I got to see them start, and it's like a really amazing feeling. It makes me really proud. When I look at all the people that I watched begin here, that I gave try climbs to, and they're just climbing so hard and so strong now, and it's really a great feeling. I really enjoy it, and with the club, I want to, it's almost a selfish thing for me to be the president, because I want to just continue that feeling for myself, that feeling of pride and vicarious accomplishment.
So I think that like climbing club and like competitions are like a good time, like designated time for like people from whatever like area or whatever like time they come here to like gather together and just like get to know one another. And once they see your face, then it's like you don't like forget them. Like,
and yeah, like the community here it's not only an area where you just exercise, it's an area where you can start bonding with new people. So I mean, I have two colleagues here that I'm like really good friends with as well, and I mean, I'm moving in with them like next semester. Yeah. So yeah, it's most likely it's more of a bonding friendship experience where you could just work out.
Yeah. And the climbing club has parties at the end of every month, so that's another way everyone kind of gets together socially. Yeah. But in terms of hanging out on a regular basis with people, I'd say the community is mostly based on this space, not as much outside of the climbing wall.
this community in the climbing gym is like pretty small compared to like basketball. Like during the basketball course, there's like different skill levels, so they'll have teams in similar skill level to play one another. But like climbing, like you can do a hard problem that's right next to like a really easy problem, and you'll still be working together. Like, hey, you got that, and like, oh, you can do this, and like you can help each other out. Whereas like as you get better at playing basketball, like you just start moving up in where you play.
Well, I think the social side of climbing and bouldering in particular is, you know, it's this friendly like competition, or like it's, you know, like collaborative, where, you know, you have this, you know, whether you're indoors or outdoors, you have like a route that nobody has climbed before. You have like a board that nobody's done before, and you're all kind of working on it together. And one person does the first 3 moves and then falls off, and then the next person tries the next 3 moves and then falls off, and then the other person's like, all right, well, let me try like this different beta, try this different way of going about it, and maybe they'll do the sequence a little bit differently, or like rearrange their hands, or like maybe they'll spot a foot that's like nobody else was using and they'll use that, and then they'll get 4 or 5 moves past that, and that's sort of like, oh my god, that's crazy, like, and then the next person, they get all energized and psyched up, and they they go in and they use that new person's beta, and then eventually you end up one person gets the top, and then that sort of gets everybody else like, all right, cool, now it's it's possible. We just saw Steve top this thing out, so all right, I'm gonna go for it now, and they have that extra energy, and then afterwards, then you're sitting down, everybody does it, and you're kind of like talking about how much fun it was, that that move at the top was like super spicy, or like, oh, that that foot out there really made all the difference, and you kind of have that group accomplishment.
No, I don't think that there's a huge gender divide. I just think that there's like less women climbers, and that's not a big deal. I just think that at this gym, it's more intimidating because you're walking in and that this climbing gym is like right outside of like Broad Street, so that there's people watching. So I don't know, it might be intimidating. It wasn't for me. Depends who you are, I guess.
What's your experience like climbing as a woman? Do you think that's different than climbing as a man?
I'm not gonna say no. Yeah, I remember one time Rory said this to me, said if Katrina can do it, anybody can do it. It was great. He was talking about my height, and I was testing out if a move is too tall, but he did it, and everybody else in the gym was like, whoa, okay.
No, at Temple's gym, there's it's predominantly males, but I feel like women still have like their like share of climbers.
I know a lot of times guys will hang out and they'll climb a prop and they'll bro out a little bit, deter women from going over there and working on it. But yeah, definitely in all types of climbing, that dynamic persists where women, they want help, they want to learn, but they don't want to feel less. And they automatically feel less because they're not as strong beginning in climbing. Men's center of gravity is in their shoulders, and climbing is a lot of pulling when you first start, and it's not a lot of technique. So automatically they just feel less competent, and they're not as strong of climbers physically right off the bat.
Again, I hate generalizing, but oftentimes like female climbers are like more not as confident as guys. So like what I always tell them is like everyone thinks that like you need all this strength and muscle and brawn to climb, but like women climbers are usually far better when they first start, just because they're not dumb. Like look at my muscles. So instead they rely on their technique and leg strength. So that's something I always say, and that's a really major misconception.
No, I think that it's also difficult for guys because they have to walk this really fine line where it is a male-dominated sport. So women are more often than not learning information from men. So they have to walk this fine line of, helping them and teaching them, but not babying them.
Did I just do that or no?
Well, so I mean, I imagine like Once you go here, you can move your heel down so it's like right in this little divot, and then you're really secure. And then it'll be easier to match on this. But you still go like this. Yeah.
And it's really, even like one sentence can change an entire partnership. I know my boyfriend and I had that whole long discussion where we had to really set ground rules for ourselves, like when we're climbing together. I told him that I wanted to be independent and as like a self-sufficient climber. So I needed him to start treating me more as a partner and less as a girlfriend. But he needed me to understand that when he did that, his attitude towards me is going to change for that time period. So I need to expect different things from him when I want different things, I guess. It's difficult, you know, when I want his help, but I don't want him to do it for me.
What's up, dude? What?
I don't know how else to say it, that most of the, the true adventurers, the true climbers that I've met are just great people. They're almost like really enlightened people and, just nice. They care about the community, they care about other people, and it's a really great community to be in. I think those kind of people are attracted to outdoor sports. So being involved in an outdoor sport means that you need to be humbled almost every time you go outside, because things aren't just going to work out in your favor. You're not going to score 10 goals every time you go rock climbing. Things are going to happen. You're going to realize you're going to get scared. That's a big part of it, is being humbled by your own fear and realizing, wow, I'm not invincible. And just, I think, that whole mind play with every outdoor sport just really creates strong people.
I feel like that's the only way I can have a life that I'm really going to enjoy, is if I take risks and go to a place I'm not comfortable at and make that the place I am comfortable and go on from there. So I guess it's just just makes things really fun. Is the simple, not in-depth answer. A lot of people think it's stupid, and you're possibly risking your life for this, kind of stupid activity. Like when you think about it in, what's the word? In the objective sense, you're just scrambling up this rocky outcrop to fly, or something physical to be had about it. But it just provides like a really fulfilling feeling to overcome the fear. Yeah, I mentioned it before, just like a way to grow.
What about getting in your car every day makes you risk your life to do it, you know? What about riding your bike down Girard where you're gonna eat shit in the trolley tracks? It's just, people like being scared. It releases endorphins to be scared and to have that rush of adrenaline. And it's the same thing with like football players. When, you know, the whistle blows and they all start playing football, I don't know. It's that rush of adrenaline, that feeling that you get when you're really passionate about something and it's exciting to you. So I don't think I'm any more likely to die than a football player. You know, if anything, I'm less likely to die or to have serious brain injury. And it's exciting. It's like, I don't know. I don't think that I would give up that feeling of excitement and adventure because of the risk.
More people die like riding their bikes, and you know, probably way more people get injured playing professional football than in climbing, or people that just like go skiing on the weekends. You're gonna have like way worse injuries and way more than in climbing. You know, climbing when it's done properly is like relatively, I'd say safe, but you know, there's a way to like mitigate the risk. And you know, climbing has very few accidents. Because it's really like there's a perceived risk and an actual risk. You know, when you have tons of equipment and you know how to use it properly, and you're, you know, always aware of your surroundings and what you're doing and stuff like that, like, you know, it's pretty manageable. And a lot of people will climb for 10, 20, 30 years and never have any sort of accident. It's just that there's like the big accident that, you know, everybody's always concerned about. Which, yeah, like if you mess something up, like the consequence is severe, permanent.
You know, we're checking to make sure that his harness is tight. That's what we're checking. You know, it's simple. We're checking to make sure that his harness is above his hip bones and that it's tight enough.
And the buckle's double back. Everything looks good. And the rope secure. We got the 5 lines, parallel line check on. 5. Alright, and the scale is good. We got release basically. And it's tied in through the tires.
Okay. You think that's all of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
You have one more right
Dude. You've got a problem. So
You're supposed to catch that.
What was the problem?
Oh. Okay, so it wasn't double back correctly.
Yep, it wasn't double back at all. So his buckles weren't secure, which
You did that on purpose.
oh, of course
You did it.
I did it on purpose.
Wait.
I would have had more things.
You can do that with just the same way.
Because it wasn't ever
It
tried
was
out.
never set up properly,
Oh, okay.
and you missed it.
Oh.
As a belayer, you're always responsible for your climber. If you're belaying for someone who is pretty much like a non-climber and doesn't know all of these systems, you don't have that redundancy, you don't have the backup, so you really need to be extra sure. Like, it's not fun to climb when you're constantly worried about, oh my god, did I actually do this right? I hope that he tied his knot correctly. Or like, if somebody was belaying you and you were climbing, would you be able to relax and have fun and enjoy the climbing if you were constantly worried about like your belayer doing stuff? No.
Like, one of my favorite parts about it is getting over your mental state. So if you're climbing a real tall 30-foot problem, like being able to keep your cool and, you know, perform the movements without falling, panicking. I'm still really bad at that, but I really like that idea. Yeah, just overcoming yourself, emotions that are perfectly fine and natural.
Well, when I started, I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, it's a good way to get in shape. It's a fun activity. I don't want to play team sports anymore. And then when I started, I was like, oh, this is really cool. cool, you know, everybody here is really awesome and really nice. And then somewhere, and I never even thought about climbing outside, and then there's just like a turning point. And as soon as I touched like real rock, it's like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do, you know? And then I started with bouldering outside. It wasn't very exciting to me. And then I started leading outside, which was more exciting. And then I looked at people climbing trad where they could just look at something and say, I'm gonna climb that. You know, no boundaries, I have what I need on my harness, I'm gonna get up that rock. And I think that what makes a good climber is the ability to look at like a feature and say, I'm gonna climb that. And I don't know, I guess I've just become an adventurer, and climbing is the way that I choose to adventure, you know?
Guys.
That's natural, guys.
Pretend like we're all friends.
It's just a vine, so you have to watch it. You can just watch it like a billion times over.
Am I being recorded right now?
All his footage. I feel like this is just footage of the future.
Climbing is awesome.
No, you love it, Antonio.
I do love it.
So much grease. I don't even know. That's not even gonna do anything.